And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at ranking. Or maybe it's called ranking. I think it's called ranking. Because in this game, if you win, you become the Ran King. Anyway, this is an unusual review for me because this is not a game that was sent to us as a review copy. This is a game I found at a flea market, and it's actually, I think, 8 years old now. And I just saw it, and it said it was about ranking things. Ho, 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 ho! That is what I like to do. I rank everything. In fact, you're my #1 favorite viewer. But that besides the point. I like to compare things like, are dragons better than penguins? Pfft, of course they are. Are penguins cooler than dragons? Sometimes. Anyhow, that's kind of what this game is. It's a little bit of a party-style game. Let's take a look. The goal of this game is to get 15 points. You're going to keep track of these points with this arrow. So you'll start here and be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then pointing down 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm sorry, you can come off the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Not really the best scoring track for the game. But you each have an arrow. You're each going to have one piece in everyone else's color. Players are going to draw a handful of tiles that are going to show various objects and items and things like this. And then you're going to start the first round. So for each round, you pull a tile out of here, and this tile is going to have some sort of topic on it. Which will you see more often at amusement parks, or which is cheaper? We'll do which is cheaper. Before the game starts, you decide whether you'll do blue or red. So you put the flag on the top of the tower, which is cheaper, and then everyone's going to pick an item from their hand and put it down. So let's say we have 4 players, they put an item here, and then we're going to add 2 from the pile. So we'll mix all these up, and then we're going to put all these in the middle row. So which is cheaper? A set of dumbbells, treasure, there's a telescope, a wheel, and a high heel shoe. So one player is going to go first each round, and that player is going to pick any spot on the board where there are 2 or more items. Okay, obviously this. They're going to pick 2 items, and they're going to pick one to move up. So I might say, well, obviously, shoes are more expensive than telescopes. Now, whether that's true or not, I can get my reasoning for that. I can move it down. Next person says, well, treasure is obviously more important than lifting weights. What a waste of time. The next person now has 3 choices. They can pick from here, here, or here. So next person might say science is more important than worrying about your weight. Which is cheaper? I'm moving them the wrong way. I should be moving them the other way. So I might say shoes are cheaper than treasure. This person will say, well, trip is really expensive, so this empty treasure box not worth as much. Then the next person might say, well, knowledge of how to make the wheel is more important than science. Next person's like, science is more important than this. Then this person will say, this is not that important. And someone moves that up, and eventually like that. As soon as there is one in the top and bottom position, the round's going to end. Now, during the round, at any point, if I think this is the blue players, I can put it on it. At any point, people can put these on. If you think that that's the person's, whoever's color that is, that's theirs. At the end of a round, we reveal who's each one. So the blue player says, yeah, this one is mine. So they're going to get 5 points minus 1. If everyone had guessed that it was theirs, they would only have gotten 2 points for moving theirs up there. And everyone moves their arrows accordingly. All these are discarded, people draw back up, and you start again. And then you draw another category. So maybe the next category is going to be which is more often lost or left behind, or which is more valuable, or what do teachers seize more often, or which most easily is dented or scratched, or what does the youngest player here find most boring, or over which is an emancipated woman annoyed more. I don't even actually know what that means. Which item would have made humans happier in the Middle Ages? Which is typically American? What do game players find more stimulating? Which burns better? Which is more difficult to get? What's more important to a prisoner in his jail cell? So lots of different questions in here. First person to get 15 points is the winner. Now, obviously, the questions here we're kind of just. I can tell that there wasn't a lot of translation or thought for an American audience. What do custom items find more often? I mean, just some of the ones here have just a weird feel to them. Like, which can a long-haired player make good friends with? What does that even mean? So some of them are more, or which item do visitors at Oktoberfest love? You're going to find them. This is obviously a game that was from Germany and brought over, and the translation is, that. I said I don't really like the score track that much, but I do like the tiles. I think there's a good mix of various pictures on these. Each player will get one of these king tokens to put in front of them, so everyone knows what color you are, which is an important thing since you're constantly putting these on whatever you think that color person is. And the game comes with a cloth bag. I actually really also like the insert for the box. It's just a cool insert. It shows a ton of pieces and things like that, so that's a lot of fun. So, yeah, pretty good components mostly. So the biggest flaw of the game is obviously it wasn't Americanized enough. Like the questions, when we played the first time, the very first question was, what do women find more valuable? Ho, 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 ho! That's just asking for trouble. I mean, we played it. But yeah, you can see it. There's questions like that, and there's a few questions in it that seem odd. But that gives the game, for me, a bit of charm. I like the artwork. I like the different items. I like that you can say something's different than something else. Like, oh, well, this is definitely, this is a treasure chest, but that just stands for a box and there's a light bulb inside. Or whatever, you can justify it. So there's this apples-to-apples style game where you're answering the question. But in reality, that's not even the game. The game is about getting your piece as high as possible without people knowing it's yours. And that's tricky. So you'll find that you get yourself caught up in well, this is better than that. And you're like, that was such a background explanation. There is no possible way you think that one's better than the other one in this category. So that must be yours. Unless you want me to think that. But why would you move your own down? I don't think you'd move it down, would you? And so that's the way the game plays, and it's a lot of fun and silly fun. And if you move it too strongly, people are going to throw it on there. So I found that if I move someone else's really strongly, maybe I'll distract people. But now they know that I do that, so now I'm moving my own really strongly and hoping I'm not as distracting. This is not a deep game by any means. This is a party-style game. And I find it kind of surprising that you don't get points for guessing someone else correctly. They simply lose points. And so it's kind of one of those games that, it's not Americanized enough. The scoring track isn't that good. It's going to be really hard to find. I don't think Rio Grande printed a lot of these copies of this game. And it's kind of in a weird place between party and between trying to sneak stuff past other people. And yet I like it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I like ranking things. Maybe I like the artwork. Maybe it has just like I said, it has a bit of a charm to it. Maybe I went in predisposed to like it, which I did, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. And I like that sometimes the computer player goes up the highest. That's what I call the tiles we throw in. And so it has a good mix of apples-to-apples style play and maybe King Me, which is another game I like a lot. So a mix of those, it works. So have fun. If you get a hold of this one, I think a lot of people might enjoy it. That's ranking, something. Dice Tower Judgment, approved! But have fun finding it.